Hey, what's up everybody, it's Axel, and today we're checking out the Kiwi Ears Astral. This is a 7-driver hybrid set with 1 dynamic drivers, 6 balanced armatures. It's priced around $299, and let's jump straight into the unboxing. So what you get in the box is this zipper carrying case, and what I love about this case is that it's actually very pocketable. It's small enough to fit the IEMs, a set of ear tips, and even a very small tiny dongle. Probably won't fit bigger dongles, but still it's very practical. And what I like about it is that simply I can put it in my pocket and just go outside with it. You know, it's really nice. After that, you get 3 pairs of narrow bore silicone ear tips, small, medium, large. You do get also 2 extra nozzle filters, and you do get a 3.5 and 4.4 terminations for the modular cable, which is actually really nice. At this price point, I expect a modular cable, and it's nice to see one included. In terms of the cable, this is the cable. It's a 4-wire weave that has a push-pull termination system. Now, usually I prefer screw-in types, but this one locks really tight and it feels secure, like it doesn't easily come off or anything. The cable itself has a slight rubbery feel to it, but it doesn't have any memory. It's not memory prone, as you can see. It never tangled with me, like it's easy to manage. It's soft, pliable, flexible, and even the chin slider works and stays in place, and this is actually really nice. It has some slight microphonics if you move the slider up and down, but overall it's a fantastic cable, you know, and I love it. Now let's talk about build, fit, and comfort. I want to show you how the shells of the Astral look like. Here's the design. The shells are made out of resin and they are super smooth, and here's how they look. It's a bit chunky, like nothing too much really, but yeah, it's a bit bulky. And here you are, you know, you have the metal nozzle with a lip to hold on to your ear tips, hold them in place, which is nice. Now the nozzle here is a bit on the short side, so you know, this IEM like doesn't sit like super deep into your ear or anything like that, but I still got a great seal and a super secure fit with it. It sticks slightly outside of your ear bits, so I wouldn't sleep with them, for example. That said, the good thing about this is that it doesn't press on any like pressure parts of your ear or anything like that, so it's very comfortable for long sessions. For me, these are actually very comfortable, like super comfy. I could wear them for hours, and I did. No pressure buildup, you know, no driver flex. You have like 2 big vents right here. The noise isolation is actually pretty solid, like average. Nozzle diameter is 6.0 millimeter at the widest point. And let's move on to talk about the sound signature and look at the frequency response graph. Basically, I will describe the Astral as having like a meta style type of tuning with a bit more treble boost. So it's kind of like a variation of the meta tuning. I will describe it with words like clean, detailed, airy. The overall sound comes across as technical, clear, engaging with a sub bass and upper treble emphasis. Let's start with talking about the bass. The bass here is sub bass focused, and what I mean by that is I can hear more rumble than slam, but the mid bass is still present and it's still punchy, and it delivers when the track calls for it. For example, Bad Guy by Billie Eilish at 2 minutes 30 seconds. When that bass slam comes, it hits. It's tight, it's textured, it has a great definition, never boomy, bloated, or anything. Very clean bass. Now personally, I do wish there was a bit more mid bass for my taste. I like that slam and punch, but what we get here is textured, it's tight, it's controlled. Even the attack is very defined. In, for example, the track Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, the bass lines are very clear and you can follow like each bass note. It's like really nuanced. And man, this sub bass digs deep. Like on the track, for example, Mountains by Hans Zimmer, from 10 seconds to 30 seconds, you can feel that visceral sub bass rumble. Same thing for Hypnocracy by Deadmau5 or Angel by Massive Attack. A lot of sub bass detail and presence. So yeah, this is not a mid bass heavy set, but man, A+ bass quality. As we move on to the mids, which actually might be my favorite part of the Astral, this is a very clean mid-range. It almost feels sometimes it's a bit too clean. It's very clear, very forward, very detailed. Vocals, both male and female, sound natural and transparent. If you like neutral sounding vocals, female vocals in particular have this great extension that brings them to life and makes them sound really lively and well extended. There is lovely separation between the vocals and the instrument, and that kind of makes vocals really pop in a beautiful way. It sounds clear, forward, without being shouty. Timbre is natural, note weight is neutral, instruments don't sound thick or thin, just right. Like really enjoyable mids for me here. Now let's talk about the treble, and this part might be a little polarizing. Starting with the lower treble, I will say I really love it. It adds clarity, it adds presence without being harsh or sibilant, not even once, and it helps the vocals and instruments shine in a really pleasant way. But then the upper treble, this is where things get really interesting. It's a bit elevated, you know, giving the Astral a lot of air and detail, which sounds great, but at times it can be a bit too crisp or too airy. If you're sensitive to that region, it might feel a bit too much. Personally, I noticed it did feel a bit too much sometimes. Like sometimes it felt that the treble could have just a slight sharp edge to it. The good news though is that boost is in the upper air region, so there is no harshness, no fatigue, no sibilance, and it doesn't sound peaky even after long listening sessions. I'm treble sensitive myself, especially to the lower treble region, but I could enjoy the Astral with long listening sessions without fatigue. Even with rock music like bands like Tool, Radiohead, Ozzy Osbourne sounded fantastic with it. That said, I wouldn't use the Astral for metal music, bright recordings, or at higher volumes, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone who is sensitive to that upper air region. When it comes to the technical performance, when it comes to detail and resolution, the Astral really shines. It's a very resolving IEM with excellent separation, and this level of detail is one of its standout features. Even the micro details are very clear and pushed forward. At times I found myself noticing elements in tracks that usually stay more in the background, they're just a bit more highlighted on the Astral. So in my technical scale, I would say it kind of sits in between like 70% in between the Nova and the Pilgrim, which is fantastic. What also stood out to me here was the imaging. Like the soundstage had good width, not the deepest, but it sounds open and spacious. Imaging though is where things get impressive. For example, the track Hurt by Johnny Cash, the guitar strings really come from both sides. Like the stereo image, you know, is excellent, and his voice is like locked dead center, and it creates this immersive experience where like every sound like has its place and makes the music like sound more realistic in my opinion. Let's kick things off for our comparisons today with the Kiwi E4. Now these two share actually some similarities in the build. Like they have the exact same nozzle size, you know, and they have like a similar shape, not exactly but very similar. So if the Kiwi E4 fits you well, you know, chances are the Astral probably will too. The Astral also includes a modular cable, which is a nice touch. In terms of sound, I feel both of these go in different directions. Like the Kiwi E4 has more mid-bass presence, which gives it like a warmer, fuller, like thicker tone. It has fuller vocals and slightly more relaxed upper mid-range vibe to it. The extra bass on the Kiwi E4 helps balance out that upper treble a bit, so it doesn't stand out to me as much as it did on the Astral, but definitely when I listen back to the Astral, I feel it's more airy. For me, the Astral is a big upgrade. Like I feel the bass here is tighter, the vocals are clearer, they are more forward, and the overall detail and separation are just on a higher level. The Astral also sounded more airy, more detailed, and way more engaging. Personally, the Astral is a lot better in my opinion. I would choose the Astral every time, but this is like about preference for people who want a warmer tone, a bassier sound, slightly more relaxed. I feel the K4 does that, but even like in terms of resolution alone, there's like a big difference between them. Alright, second comparison here is the Xenns Tea Pro. Is the Kiwi Ears Astral the one that's going to dethrone it? Honestly, for me, yeah, it kind of does. Surprising, right? Like I actually enjoyed the Astral more, but this is basically about preference. I'll explain the differences. The Tea Pro still has that, you know, heavy bass and thicker, fuller mids, and if you're after that, you know, slightly warmer, punchy, bass forward sound, it definitely delivers that, and you're going to like the Tea Pro more. But here's the kicker. I was surprised actually. The Astral has the better bass quality. It's definitely more textured, it's definitely more detailed, and I really loved how it brought out these subtle nuances in the bass. When I went back to the Tea Pro, those details were there, but they weren't as clear or as highlighted as I found them on the Astral. Vocals are also much clearer on the Astral, cleaner, they're more forward. Like even for example with simple stuff like Kendrick Lamar, the Astral just made the vocals pop more. The lower treble is smoother on it and it sounds more airy and definitely has better sense of separation. So I feel like the Tea Pro is definitely great as a bassy set. For people who want more bass, they will definitely prefer that, but you know, for people who want something cleaner with some, you know, something more vocal focused, I feel the Astral really does that. Alright, last comparison, it was going to be like another amazing IEM, which is the ZiiGaat Odyssey, and this comparison took me a bit longer to do because basically both sound great. But they just highlight different things and, you know, they sound great for different reasons. I think for me, the Odyssey has that perfect amount of mid-bass I personally love, and it has a tamer upper treble, which makes it, you know, a solid daily driver. It sounds amazing, it's fun, the bass is punchy, but when it comes to bass texture, when it comes to the rumble, when it comes to the overall sense of resolution and detail, the Astral takes the win. The Odyssey also has fuller, more relaxed upper mid-range, which I personally enjoy, but the forward vocals on the Astral really stand out, while the vocals on the Odyssey sound natural, but they don't pop the way they do on the Astral. The lower treble on the Astral is definitely a bit more smoother and more comfortable with a more airy treble overall. And just when it comes to the detail and stuff like that, just the Astral just pulls ahead with better resolution, better separation, better imaging. I think both of these really sound fantastic, man. Like the Astral is more resolving and engaging, while the Odyssey is a bit more laid back and a bit more balanced. Like if you're after the better bass quality, the vocal clarity, the detail, I think the Astral does that better. But if you prefer a more relaxed, balanced sound, like with the fun mid-bass and fuller vocals. You know, just an amazing tuning as well. I feel the Odyssey really shines in that area. All right, let's move on. Who I recommend the Kiwi Ears Astral to. Number one, I would say for anyone who's looking for a detailed all-rounder at this price point, this is it. Number two, people who want the variation of the meta tuning, you know, they want a slight upper treble boost, this is it. Number three, people who want clean, clear vocals, people who want forward mid-range that really highlights the vocals but doesn't sound shouty. I think the Astral does that. Number four, people who like sub-bass focused bass with great texture and great rumble. Now, who I don't recommend the Kiwi Ears Astral to, number one, anyone who's sensitive to an elevated upper treble, or simply someone who prefers a more relaxed upper treble presentation. Number two, I don't recommend it for anyone who wants a strong mid-bass presence or simply doesn't prefer a bass stuck. Number three, anyone who prefers a fuller, warmer, or more laid-back sound signature. All right, let's wrap this up with my final rating. I'm giving the Kiwi Ears Astral a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Like, it's a strong performer, definitely competitive in its price range, and has some standout qualities, and definitely gets a thumbs up from me, recommended. This wraps up my review of the Kiwi Ears Astral. What do you guys think about this tuning? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.